What would you do if your own sister risked your parents losing their home, then turned around and blamed you for stopping it? It started with a phone call. A panicked, trembling voice on the other end. It was my sister Sally. She's 5 years older than me, and we've always been close. But that day, her voice didn't sound like Sally. It sounded scared, uncertain, like the world was collapsing around her. "I don't know what to do," she said. "Mom and Dad just got a foreclosure notice, and they don't even know what it says. You see, my parents are immigrants. English is not their first language, and when they get official documents, they often ask Sally to translate. But this letter, this wasn't routine. It was a final notice from the bank. Their house, the one they bought decades ago, was about to be taken away. Now here's the part that makes this so much worse. My parents hadn't actually lived in that house since 2014. They'd let my oldest sister and lived there with her husband and kids, rent-free. All they asked was that she would take care of the mortgage. Simple, right? Apparently not. Sally looked into it, and what she found made her sick. The mortgage hadn't been paid in over 6 months. 6 months of silence. Of the bank sending warning letters addressed to that very house. Which means, and had seen them, all of them, and said nothing. She let it get to this point, to foreclosure, knowing full well that the roof over our parents' heads was legally still tied to their names. Sally had just a few days to fix it. The debt needed to be paid, fast. And of course, and had no money.
No answers. No remorse.
I live over 1,000 miles away, in another state. But the mortgage company? Their main offices were in my state. Sally called me in a panic. "I'm wiring the payment, but if it doesn't go through, I need you to go in person. Please. Just in case." I said yes. Of course I did. Because that's what family should do. I waited by the phone, checked the bank every hour, and finally, the wire went through. Crisis averted. House saved. At least on paper. Because what was broken wasn't the bank balance. It was the trust. When Sally and my parents confronted, and they expected panic, regret, at least some honesty. What they got was excuses, and said the bank had lost the payments. That she had sent the checks, but something must have happened. When asked for proof, bank statements, receipts, anything, she gave them nothing. Just more excuses. And then she got defensive. "This is why I don't tell you guys anything," she snapped. "You always think the worst of me." Sally was stunned. My parents heartbroken. They'd worked their whole lives for that home. But in the end, my parents, trying to keep peace, let it go. And moved out a few weeks later. Quietly.
No epalerí.
No responsibility. She just left. But not before making it clear to Sally. "You should have stayed out of it." Months passed. I tried to focus on my pregnancy. It was my first, and honestly, it was rough. I was tired, hormonal, and emotionally drained. So when Sally offered to throw me a baby shower at her home, I was beyond grateful. She decorated everything so beautifully. Friends and family showed up. There was laughter, hugs, little baby socks hanging from twine. It should have been perfect, but someone was missing.
And
at first, I assumed she had a good reason. Maybe work. Maybe the kids were sick. But then I started hearing the stories. To one cousin, she said she was out of town. To another, she said she didn't feel well. To a third, she said she hadn't been invited. All lies. And then a few weeks later, she sent me a voice note. She was crying, her voice cracking as she said she couldn't be in Sally's house after what Sally did to her. That she felt betrayed. That she couldn't handle the emotional pain. And then she said something that stuck in my brain like a splinter. "Reach out to me when you're ready." Ready? Ready to what? To apologize? For what? I was the pregnant one, trying to hold my emotions together. And I was supposed to fix this? I didn't respond. Not for 6 months. Over the months, and would randomly send me memes. Funny posts. Instagram reels.
as if we were okay. No explanación. No conversación. Just pretend everything was fine. But every time I saw her name pop up, I felt my stomach turn. She almost cost our parents their house. She never apologized.
And now she was just skipping back into my inbox like we were best friends? Today, I snapped. I opened my phone, scrolled through her last message, and I replied, "You can either take accountability for taking advantage of your family, or we no longer have a relationship." I said it calmly, but inside, I was shaking because it hurt. This wasn't a stranger. This was my sister. But I was done being the one who had to pretend. Now I keep asking myself, was I wrong? Was I wrong for not responding to her sooner? For cutting her off instead of working it out? Should I have stayed quiet like she wanted? Or was it time someone finally told her, "You don't get to hurt people and act like nothing happened"? Maybe I didn't choose peace, but I chose truth. And maybe that's even more powerful. Let me know in the comments below. Am I the one in the wrong? Or is it time to call out the ones who never take responsibility? Subscribe for more real stories from real people facing the hard truths of family, love, and loyalty.